This question is asking, find the product of 3 over 10 and 2 and 2/9. Your answer must be in lowest terms. The product, that means multiplication. So what we're going to do here is 3/10 times 2 and 2/9. So here we have a mixed number, which we're going to have to change to an improper fraction so we can multiply. The way we're going to change this to improper fraction is we're going to do 2 times 9, which is 18, plus 2, which is 20, over that same denominator. So this becomes 2 times 9 is 18, plus 2 is 20 over 9. So this stays 3 over 10. We're going to multiply. So when we're multiplying fractions, we just multiply straight across the top and the bottom. So it's going to be 3 times 20, which is equal to 60, and 10 times 9, which is 90. So it says your answer must be in lowest terms. So this is not in lowest terms. We got to simplify. So here we can simplify this by, we can cross out the zeros. The zeros cancel out. So we're left with 6 over 9, right? So that's still not in lowest terms. So we got to find a factor that they both have in common, which is 3. So we're going to divide this by 3 and this by 3. The product of 3/10 and 2 and 2/9 in lowest terms is 2/3.
This question is asking, divide 6 and 4 over 5 divided by 1 and 7 over 10. So before I start this problem, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these proper fractions and make them into improper fractions. So to make these proper fractions into improper fractions, I'm going to multiply the whole number by the denominator and then add the numerator. So for here it's going to be 6 times 5, which is going to give me 30, plus 4, which is going to give me 34. And for 1, 7 over 10, I'm going to multiply 1 times 10, which is going to give me 10, plus 7, which is going to give me 17. So now that I have them as improper fractions, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to flip the second number and then multiply it. So now that I've flipped the second number and multiplied, I can just work across. What I mean is that I can multiply the numerator by the numerator and the denominator by the denominator. But there's a trick to this to make it a little bit easier. What we can do is, if we're looking across this 5 and this 10, I can simplify these further. What I mean by simplifying further is that both 5 can go in the 5 and 5 can go in the 10. So 5 can go into 5 one time, so I'm going to cross out the 5 and put a 1 here. And 5 can go into 10 how many times? 2 times. So I'm going to cross out the 10 and put a 2. So I can do the same thing for 34 and 17. 17 can go into 17, and 17 can go into 34. 17 can go into 17 one time, so I'm going to cross out the 17 and put a 1. And 17 can go into 34 2 times. So I'm going to cross out the 34 and put in a 2. So now that I simplified these further, I'm going to multiply across. So I have 2 times 2, which is going to give me 4. And then I have 1 times 1, which is going to give me 1. And then 4 over 1, if I simplify this further, is going to give me 4. So before I conclude and say that 4 is my final answer, let's first understand that the only time that I can simplify these further, these type of fractions, is when I'm multiplying fractions together. And it can only work across. So this 5 can only work with this 10, and this 34 can only work with this 17. So only when I'm multiplying fractions can I simplify them further. So now that we understand that, 2 times 2 is 4, 1 times 1 is 1, 4 over 1 is going to give me 4, and 4 is going to be my final answer.